this is the thing. And this is the thing I feel like actually for years I stopped doing because I was like so focused on like a band thing and like having this polished thing is just constantly be putting out work.
Welcome to the Girl X Podcast, a weekly conversation with an inspiring woman. I'm Cooper Gillespie, and this week, man, there's a lot of things to be excited about, but one is we have some cool new stuff coming up on the Girl X blog. So if you head to gxrlpod.com, girlpod.com, you'll see at the top there's a link to Ask Pallavi, and she is our resident Girl X therapist, and she is going to be giving us advice on the regular. So if you have something you need advice about, head over to gxrlpod.com, click on Ask Pallavi, and send her a message, and she will write back to you about what you should do with your life and everything else. I'm really excited to see this column come to life. This week on the show, we have Kym Priess, who is an incredible polyhyphenate. She is an adventurous, bold creator, musician, singer, actor, on-camera host, and performance artist living in Los Angeles. Her work pushes boundaries, forms, and comfort levels, yet maintains a playful, whimsical, and curious tone. Her current focus is her adventure spectacle rock project called STUNTDRIVER. Oh my gosh, you guys, it is so amazing. You have to check it out. The project straddles rock and art whilst examining the age-old battle between light and dark via sci-fi-like personas amidst heavy electro-rock. But this isn't her only iron in the fire. No, no, no. She also has a rock and roll fitness web series called Tomahawk Training and is working on the launch of her virtual talk show / variety hour called the Tomahawk Outlaw Hour. Kym Priess is from Austin, Texas, and she wants you to know she loves frozen margaritas with chips and salsa. So if you ever see her out, that's the way to her heart. Here she is, Kym Priess. How are you doing? How's everything going? You're in the thick of it there in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I guess we are. Hot spot here. We've been pretty tight on the quarantine, but we've loosened up a little recently.
Really?
Well, we started going to the grocery store, which we hadn't done. This is day 101 for us.
Wow.
And we didn't go to the grocery store until a week ago. So we were just ordering groceries and doing that thing.
Right? And then you guys went to protests and stuff too, right?
We did, but I mean, it is possible to social distance in a protest. Yeah. I mean, if you're in the march, maybe not, but we were like at the rallies and literally just stood way in the back. We couldn't hear everything they were saying, of course, which I would have liked to, but just being there was really moving, and yeah, it was emotional.
So one of the big things for this show is talking about women's creative journeys, just because I feel like when I was a kid sitting around in Tacoma, Washington, I never knew that like my life, it was possible. I thought I'll probably have to be a lawyer because I don't want to be a doctor. And those seem to be the only two career choices that I seem to know about for some reason. And I didn't want to be a nurse because I'm afraid of blood. And so I guess the biggest thing for me is just to kind of share our stories so that, I don't know, other people know just what's possible. And you have a really interesting journey. And I mean, there's so much I want to talk to you about as a creative and as an artist, and also just how you can kind of marry some of your sort of political statements into your work. But I guess I want to know how it all began. Like you're sitting around in Austin, Texas as a little kid. Right. And like, how do you decide, like, you know what, I'm going to go and be this creative performer? How did that happen?
Well, I think it started with when I was about 5, I wanted to be a movie star.
And what was there any one thing that like prompted that, or any one show you saw where you're like, oh, I want to be that person? Or no, you just knew that you wanted the attention on you and to perform?
I think here's the problem with me in interviews is my memory is so horrible. Like my memory is like the size of like an ant. So like, I'm like, can I make up answers on the spot? Yes. But, no, but I think as a kid, I don't know what the pivotal moment was, but I know that I was very into leading, like these, it's funny, like these choose your own adventure immersive journeys with neighborhood kids I guess it was pretty lucky that we kind of lived like outside of Austin. So we had space, some acres, and, I would like create these different little like zones and I'd give these tours. And then sometimes when I go to my friend's house, they'd have like the same sort of acreage. So then we'd switch it up. And I guess we were always, it's funny, I guess we were creating our own work at a young age. And before I knew what that meant, but we would have like fake boxing matches where, and it was all girls, and we'd make like boxing outfits and then do it for our parents. Maybe that's my obsession.
You beat each other up in front of your parents.
I mean, it was fake. It was like glow. Yeah. It was like glow.
Yeah. Okay.
Young kids of wrestling. And then we did talk shows, and I had really bad perms at the time. So I was always like Slash.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And my friend was like Axel. And, so maybe that shows my musical influence.
Why did we want perms?
I don't know. It would be kind of fun though, to get like a really froey perm right now.
Yeah. Just like rock that 80s style.
Dude, I mean, I'm considering it. But yeah, the movie star thing, I mean, I'm sure I might have to do some sort of like spiritual journey and figure out what that pivotal moment was. I don't know. Maybe that'll come back to me.
Well, it's okay if you don't know, but so that's what you wanted. Were there performers in your family or no?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. I mean, my mom used to sing. My dad's just kind of a character, but not like professional performers.
So then you decide that I want to be a movie star. And then what happens? Like, are you like in the school theater or what?
Yes. Yeah. So I became the drama club president. And, but then I became a lot of other presidents because I knew it would make me look good for college applications. I was like, can I be vice president of the Spanish club? Yes, I was very actively involved in high school theater. And then I started taking professional acting classes outside of that, So, I guess like when I couldn't drive, my mom would drop me off and then I started driving, but then I would drive into Austin proper and I had all these like pro acting coaches. And one thing I do remember is I remember this guy named Gabe Folse. I have no idea what he's doing now, but I remember him telling me when I was probably like 16, because I think I was driving, he was like, you have so much power, but you're not in touch with it yet. And I was like, what? I don't know. What does that mean?
That's
I don't
such
know.
an acting teacher thing to say.
I know, right? And I'm an acting teacher now, so I like find myself saying stuff like that. I'm like, when I was your age, somebody told me this and I didn't know what it meant. You'll find out. So, okay. I mean, this is kind of a long story, but so whatever. So that was all happening. And then my plan was to move to LA because that's where, the movie stars came to be. And,
so like as soon as you're out of high school, you're like, I'm going to head to LA.
That was my plan.
Okay.
But meanwhile, there were like two main like high school theater teachers, coaches, whatever you want to call them. And they really had my back, like so much that I like became friends with them. And like, we'd be going to see like Smashing Pumpkins and it'd be like near my teacher's house and we'd drop by and she'd give us drinks.
Wow.
I know. So she started saying, I think you should audition for NYU. And I had never considered New York. So I was like, okay. And I started exploring that option. Had never been to New York in my life. And I auditioned in Houston at like the Marriott where I had to do 2 contrasting monologues.
And how did you pick your monologues? Did you already have some from having done theater? Or because I remember that stressed me out about college applying for theater. It's like, I don't know what a monologue is. Like,
I know.
How do I do this?
Yeah. I think I did the Wool Gatherer.
Nice.
I just remember being really dramatic or like something about the sea or maybe that was the seahorse. I don't even remember. Yeah, maybe did like a comedic Shakespeare monologue.
I'm sure it was amazing.
Something like that. But I think my teachers helped me and coached me through that. I think I remember that. And I also wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. That was another thing. So I was like, oh, well, that's what Saturday Night Live is. But then being the person that doesn't put all my eggs in one basket, I was like, well, I'm just going to audition for other colleges anyways. So I auditioned for all like East Coast stuff, like BU, Carnegie Mellon, Columbia, I don't know, a bunch of places like, College of Santa Fe. And this was only because I don't know. Somebody told me they had a good theater program. And then what happened? I flew out there. I remember visiting it and all this stuff. I think I even went to Denver too. They gave me a full ride, College of Santa Fe, but I didn't take it. Welcome to my life. I like constantly, I'm like, oh, that's an opportunity. Nah, let's take the hard route. Let's take the hard ride. Let's suffer. But I think I was just like, well, I'm going to end up in New York anyways. So I'd already shifted my mindset to like, I need to live in New York. So I was like, well, why would I go to Santa Fe? That sounds like a derailing. So,
well, it's not exactly the entertainment capital of the world, or even the West Coast.
Yeah, but it's cool. And some of my closest like collaborators went to school there. Which is interesting to think we probably would have met there. But yeah, so I got like partial stuff to NYU. Showed up at NYU, and my mom's favorite story is they like left me in Washington Square to like go to the orientation, and then I turned around. I was like, Mom, which way was I supposed to go? She's like, oh, you didn't know. I had to tell you. It's like, okay, we'll give you credit. And then I stood up, and then, I remember standing up at the orientation, and I was like, if anybody wants to start an all-girl band, just come talk to me. No one talked to me.
Did you play music at that point?
Not really.
But you knew, but you were like, I want to do a band too. Okay.
Yeah,
and but no one took you up on it.
Yeah. I like sang songs. I like made up songs, I mean, I didn't really play. I remember my mom tried to get me to do piano lessons, and then I thought it was like a pussy instrument. So I like took a few, and I was like, this is boring, which is, whatever. No regrets, but that probably would have been a smart thing to do. I took voice lessons, I think, as a kid, and just made up songs.
So you stand up at orientation, and you're like, anyone want to be in a girl band? And nobody does.
Nobody talks to me.
What happened?
Nobody talked to me.
I like how you just put yourself out there, though. I mean, that's pretty huge. I would have been petrified.
Yeah, there's something in me that always feels like I need to speak up. Maybe that's annoying, but like if somebody's like not talking in a situation, I'm like, I'll talk. But then I like just like diarrhea comes out, and I'm like,
I think it's probably a good quality for a performer.
I guess so. Like I always feel like I have to chime in. I mean, I don't know. I took a workshop the other day on radical listening, and it was all about, and it was through like a performer I respect immensely, a friend. And it was all about what is it like to listen, knowing that you are not going to respond verbally.
Wow.
And it was hard.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
It was
probably,
so hard.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, one, honestly, I found it a little boring. Which I was like, what does that say about me? Am I like a total asshole? Like,
oh, that's funny.
But it was really cool. Yeah.
Okay, so you're at orientation, then what happens?
Well, I forgot to say, when I was at that Marriott audition, they were like, well, talk to me about your process. And I was like, well, I like to use my life, whatever. So at NYU, they have these, so that they're like, oh, your method then. All of a sudden they like throw me.
Yeah. I'm a 17-year-old method actor.
I mean, sure, I'd studied some Stanislavski in high school or whatever. And I did have some process things in those quote pro acting classes. And then, they had these different studios at NYU. So they threw me in Strasbourg. Oh. So I was in full on Strasbourg for 2 years. And, and I was like, I mean, everybody has their process, no disrespect, but I tried it. And I was like, okay, this is, like we weren't allowed to like play characters. That wasn't until like year 4. Right. And I had felt like my sense of play was kind of gone. I was like, all that creating, like as a kid and up until that point, I was like, this isn't, I gave it a chance. It was cool. Yeah. Learned some things. But then it started to get, I was like, I got to transfer out here. So then I transferred to the experimental theater wing. And that's where I was like, oh, this is the merge of like, all my weirdness with the craft and technique still too, but making your own work. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, this is it. This is like all the physical weird characters mixed with music, mixed with clowning, mixed with rhythm, mixed with, Afro Haitian dance, and that's when that's when I was like, okay, this is it. This is it. This is the alignment.
I can see that in your work totally, even today. Okay, so you do that for a couple of years, and then do you stay in New York when you graduate, or what do you do?
Oh, this is a big question. I recently worked through this. I'd like to say I don't have any regret, but I recently worked through this because of the help of Mr. Jimbo. So I graduated a semester early because I'd done a summer program in Amsterdam. And I was like, well, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go live in Hawaii again because I lived in Hawaii a couple summers. So I was like, there was a new buddy I had that I'd met in college, and we bonded over the fact that we both loved Hawaii. So we're like, let's move there after graduation. So moved there for a couple months, had a lot of adventures, random jobs, hopped around some islands. Another opportunity I threw away. I'd gotten into this musical theater showcase via NYU, but for like agents and all that kind of jazz after college. And was I a musical theater person? No, but my teacher was